Well, hello YouTube, Louie here, and today I'm going to take a review of most of the major retailers that sell silver and gold and find out which ones are charging sales tax and which ones are not. I'm afraid the bad news is, to give you a sneak peek, sales taxes are nearly completely unavoidable now in our online world. All right, but there are a couple of small exceptions. But let's go through all the retailers. What I've done is I have tried to purchase a theoretical $10 face of constitutional silver at every one of the retailers that I'm aware of. So let's go through them one by one. You can also get a feel for what they charge for a fairly ubiquitous constitutional silver purchase. And so we can see who's higher, who's lower, who is charging sales tax, and who is charging delivery fees on a purchase between $100 and $200. So let's go ahead and get going, and you'll see some very familiar names here. You may want to bookmark this video to in case your goal is to avoid sales tax. Now, some of you do not pay sales tax because your state does not charge it on precious metals, and kudos to you. You're still in the home of the free and the brave. But for many of us, and I think for some of the bigger and more populated states, sales tax is now part of our future virtually everywhere. Okay, here we go. Oh, and I almost forgot to add that all of these purchases are with credit card. So there is about a 4% surcharge for credit card use. So take that into account when you look at the prices. All right, in no particular order, we're going to start with Gainesville coins. Silver was $18.20 when I was doing this research, and I went ahead and placed a purchase of constitutional silver. You can see the price right there, and you can also see that their cheapest constitutional was 134.70. That's 13.5 times face. This was just generic, the cheapest constitutional they sold, usually Washington quarters. Unfortunately, Gainesville is charging sales tax and is charging shipping and handling, bringing your total price up to 14.9 times face. Next, we have the all-familiar APMEX. Again, we looked for their cheapest constitutional silver, and APMEX was charging $134.99 for $10 of face, and unfortunately taxes as well in this purchase, but no shipping charge over $100, bringing you up to $145 or 14.5 times face. And now Provident Metals, recently purchased by JM Bullion. They were out of 60 generic constitutional. The cheapest constitutional I could find at Provident was $165.42 for Kennedy halves, but they did not have the quarters. So, or dimes or anything. Their stock was very low on constitutional. Shipping is free, but in this case they are now charging sales tax. Obviously something that JM Bullion instituted when they bought them. So Provident Metals completely out of the running here. And speaking of JM Bullion, they had a much better deal over there than at Provident. The JM Bullion was charging $140.83 for $10 face. They are charging sales tax, but again, shipping is free. A total of $151.74 out the door. That's 15.2 times face. And silver.com, I've bought from them a couple of times, but not very often. You can get $10 face for $140.83. They are charging shipping at $5.95, and they are charging sales tax, bringing their price up to $157.69 or 15.8 times face. And now over to SD Bullion, a retailer that probably spends more on advertising than any of their competitors. They're charging $144.29 for $10 face. They are going to charge you sales tax, but shipping is free for this order, bringing it up to $155. $15.55 times face. Bold Precious Metals. All right, here we have an exception. Bold Precious Metals has got a good deal on shipping and is not charging sales tax. So what do they charge for the silver? $10 face is $150 or 15 times. No shipping, no tax, out the door, $150 or 15 times face. So you will want to take a note that Bold is not charging sales tax, at least for now, until somebody cracks down on them. And if their prices are good, and their price is higher than many for the silver, but if the price is good, you will get the free shipping and you will avoid the sales tax. And now we have buygoldensilver.com, BGASC. Similar order of $10 face. They were charging $146.60. In this case, they were charging shipping $695 and sales tax. Total order $165.43, 16.5 times face. And I have never bought from Money Metals Exchange, but let's give them a try here. $137.80. That's a great price. But they are charging shipping and sales tax, bringing the total cost to about $150 or 15 times face. Here we have Monument Metals, and when I recorded this purchase, spot was $18.10, so about 10 cents less than the other retailers, so I'll add that on at the end. They were charging $154.50 for $10 face, and no sales tax again, and no shipping charges. So that puts us at $15.45. But let's add a little bit because the spot was 10 cents lower. So let's call that $15.55 times face. All right, now on to Silver Gold Bull. In this case, we bought $10 face, and they were charging $138.01. They did charge sales tax, but no shipping, bringing total out the door cost to $151.12, 15.11 times face. But again, spot was about 10 cents lower, so we'll call that 15.21 times face. All right, now we have bullion exchanges. Spot was about 18.13 at this time, and they were charging $141.06. They are charging sales tax, no shipping, for out the door price of $151.91, 15.19 times face. We'll add about 7 cents and call that 15.26 times face. All right, that's all the retailers I've reviewed. Now let's go over to my go-to purchasing spot, which has been eBay. But the news is not good at eBay, guys. All right, you may not be aware, but eBay has now instituted a universal sales tax engine similar to Amazon. And it used to be that you could find sellers who were not charging sales tax to you. Again, if you're in a taxable state. It was really easy to find if you just avoided AppMex and some others that were being stricter about it. You could always find an individual that didn't care to get involved with that and took a little risk. Well, now eBay is collecting the sales tax on everyone's behalf and remitting that to the states on everyone's behalf. So from what I've seen, and again, I'm in a taxable state, it is impossible to avoid the sales tax on eBay. There are a couple of Hail Marys you could possibly try. You could try to convince eBay that you're a reseller, but I tried that, and that didn't work for me. And you might try to buy something out of the country, but again, there's going to be higher fees and potentially customs issues as well. I think we're going to see eBay, the precious metals sales on eBay get very, very hammered by this. And of course, there's a more level playing field now, so once we all accept that sales tax is part of our future, then perhaps it will come back. But I see the precious metals market on eBay really getting destroyed. And I think those of us that have been selling on there for years are going to find a much harder time selling because, people do not want to pay the extra 7-8%, at least in my state. It has been really advantageous to use the eBay Bucks offers and so forth in concert with the eBay credit card 3.3% rebate, in concert with avoiding sales tax. Well, the sales tax is no longer going to be avoidable. Now, in some cases, if you go over a certain limit, and this is true of all the retailers, in my state there is a total limit of $1,500. If you spend beyond that, you will not pay the sales tax. So I should actually make this a separate category of this video. But buying in bulk in some states can help you avoid the sales tax. And perhaps that'll work on eBay as well if they have set up those tax engines correctly. But I would think that the other thing I would watch for on eBay now that we can't avoid the sales tax, I think that eBay as a company is going to be somewhat destroyed by this because eBay could always go head to head with Amazon and beat them hands down by a ton because Amazon charges higher fees to sellers and also applies sales tax. eBay still has lower fees than Amazon, but with the sales tax reinstated, I think that's going to push people back over to Amazon. And I think you're going to see a lot of the flipping get curtailed in the precious metals market, at least for a year or two. If you were into shorting stocks, I would short eBay right here because it's not going to be pretty. Everything just got hugely more expensive there due to these rules. Now, speaking of deals and eBay bucks, how funny is it that I was about to predict that eBay would be running tons and tons of eBay Bucks deals, and sure enough, I opened my eBay this morning and I saw I had a 6% coupon for the store, 10% in-app purchase. So I think this is what they're going to do to try to counter the sales tax implementation. So if you're not part of the eBay Bucks setup, then definitely get in there and sign up for eBay Bucks. And I think you're going to see these 6, 8, 10% eBay Buck back offers just flowing, because I do believe that as a public company, eBay uses this tool to exaggerate and inflate their earnings. Personally, I don't think it'll be enough, but perhaps we can find something in the right category at the right price that has eBay Bucks applied to it. Usually bullion does not qualify for eBay Bucks, but in the World Coins and US Coins section, if you can find American Eagles, or I can often find gold there, so I think it's probably a little easier to find the Bucks rebate on gold than it is silver. But you can find both if you look hard enough, and that 10% helps to offset what will be 7.5% tax in my state. So there is a silver lining if you wanted one, but at this juncture, the only places I have found, let's see, were bold precious metals. Okay, so that goes up to the top of the list, although I think they're charging more. So be careful of that. Also Monument Metals, although their price was a little high as well. And I believe at the coin shop in Canada, yeah, I think I need to go back and put that into the video, but the coin shop in Canada is not charging sales tax. So I can't speak to custom fees and whether you'll get nailed on that as you import from Canada. But so I would put the coin shop, monument metals up, and bold precious metals to the top of your list, and look at your net cost out the door. So you know, these prices move all over the place, but if you looked at the different prices, you saw that they were wildly fluctuating between 13 and $17 times face for a very common item, constitutional silver. So I think you got to look at your out-the-door cost and shop accordingly. I hope you found this video interesting and useful, and you may want to bookmark it if you forget where they're going to nail you with those sales taxes. If you're one of those lucky people in a non-sales tax state, I would make hay with that while you can. For those of us that have been stacking for years, another good reason that we have been doing so, because you know, things don't get cheaper over time. Taxes don't generally go lower over time. So avoiding, in my case, the 7.5% sales tax over the last 5 or 6 years, while I was buying hundreds and hundreds of ounces of silver and quite a few ounces of gold, has been very valuable, very valuable. So I'm glad I was able to beat this taxation issue, and the stack is pretty much in place. For those of you just starting out, be very wary and do your research and try to avoid it if you can, but I'll tell you, they're coming for us. Okay, Louie signing out. Please post your best ideas and where you shop to avoid sales tax. Of course, you can do flea markets and garage sales, and with a wink to your local coin shop, maybe you can avoid it, but they should be charging sales tax at the local coin shop as well. Or are you a heavy hitter and every purchase you make from now on will be above that limit? Let's say you're in California and you plan to just always buy over $1,500, right? And then you would totally avoid that probably everywhere if they're applying the rules correctly. So perhaps now is the time to include a little gold in every silver purchase. And if you were making a purchase once a month, well, maybe make a purchase every 3-4 months instead, because that sales tax is just devastating. The other thing I'll be curious of is whether that gets incorporated into our thinking, if precious metals now just become more expensive and everybody comes to accept it. I don't know about that. I don't know if everything is going to have to be discounted now to sell it, or if the excitement in the market and the momentum in rising spot price will just force people to jump in there and pay the sales tax. But I'll guarantee you one thing, you'll pay it when you buy and you'll lose it when you sell. So now you have, in my state, a 7.5% barrier to buying and selling, making everything almost a long-term hold. And that is a whole different world than what we've seen in the past. Okay, what are your thoughts on this important topic? Talk to you guys later.